Welcome back, legends. I hope you're all amazing. On today's video, we're going to be checking out the amp driver from Human Pedals. This is an overdrive pedal with some very interesting features. You'll notice the four knobs along the top labeled drive, tone, presence, and level. Nothing out of the ordinary there, but this really comes into its own with the four onboard switches. We've got pre-gain, focus, tight, and post-gain. This is designed to basically work with any guitar and amp combination. If you want to use it to boost a crunchy amp, if you want to use it to tighten up a high gain amp, or if you want to use it as a dedicated drive and preamp into a clean amp, you can do all of those things. So let's get straight into it. To get started, I've got a PRS CE24 standard running into the amp driver, and then the Blue Galaxy on my Soldano Astro 20. For a crunchy sound, personally, I always like using a drive or a boost pedal together with a crunchy amp to sort of take the crunch sound way over the top. We will hear this pedal into the clean channel of the Astro later in the video, so you can hear how it works as a kind of dedicated drive or preamp. But for now, this is the starting point. That's a pretty good starting point. Before we twist any knobs, I want to go through the switches because these are really fundamental to the character of this pedal, and depending on the switch configuration you choose, you can get a wide range of different tones and textures out of this pedal, especially when you're using it as a boost. So let's see the difference between pre-gain and post-gain. You can see I've got the volume all the way up, the drive all the way down, the tone and presence in the middle. As it is at the moment, with all the switches down and the knobs set the way that they are, this is pretty transparent. Let's hear it. So they're both adding something in there. The pre-gain to me kind of sounds a little more amp-like. Let's say you added an extra gain stage to your amp and maybe you've got a bright cap in there or something like that to just shape the tone a little bit. Whereas post-gain, to my ears anyway, just kind of sounds like a flat gain boost on there. The other two switches on here work together. You've got focus and you've got tight. So these are going to be adding some filtering in here, and running pre-gain into focus and tight is going to give you different results to running, say, focus and tight into the post-gain. Of course, we're going to hear them with all switches on at these settings, and then we'll twist some knobs. But let's just have a listen to what focus does, then we'll have a listen to how it interacts with tight. Tight doesn't actually do anything on its own. focus is taking out a bunch of low end. When you add tight, it takes out even more low end. And then combining it with the gain switches can get you gobloads of tight distortion. Again, just running it into that core crunch sound. And I haven't even cracked the drive control on here. I'm going to do that now and kind of dial in the tone and presence. So what I really like on here is I really like the pre-gain control and I really like the focus control. So I'm going to start with those on, and then what I'm going to do is turn these controls here down. I'll set the volume to around 3 o'clock on there. And I'm just going to introduce some actual drive and dial this in. I want to take this kind of Marshall style crunch and really turn it into a high gain beast. Thoroughly impressed with how well that takes that core crunch sound and mutates it into a range of really impressive high gain sounds on there. With the focus switch out, you've got really big fat leads. With pre-gain and post-gain in and everything cranked, you've almost got kind of saturated fuzz sounds on there. Using the tight and the focus with either pre-gain or post-gain and the drive cranked up with the level cranked up can, again, kind of transform that sound into something that sounds like a multi-channel high gain amp on there. What I really like is there's no super harsh overtones or just kind of scuzzy, ratty stuff when you've got the drive control up. A lot of distortion pedals or boost pedals or overdrive pedals will have a pretty limited range that they work in, whereas with this, as we heard, you could have the drive all the way down. You could use these pre and post gain switches to get your gain almost like a tube amp gain stage, or you can use the drive control in there to introduce some grease. I really like the way the presence control is voiced as well. It's subtle. There's no points in there where it sounds like your eardrums are being shredded to pieces, which, sometimes is a good thing. You want that HM2 chainsaw thing. This isn't necessarily going to do that, but what it does do is, again, kind of takes a core line like Marshall style sound and pushes it into different high gain directions. Let's hear it now with the tapped neck pickup of this guitar and the green galaxy of the Astro for a clean sound. What I'm going to do is just dial this in for kind of like a sweet drive. I'm going to start with all the switches down to see where we end up. clean amp, you could really hear the difference in character between the pre and post gain on there, and being able to cascade them, being able to have the tone and presence control that kind of complement one another. That really feels like the theme on here, is that, you know, if you like pre-gain, post-gain gives you a related but different version of that. If you like what the tone control's doing, maybe you want to crank that up and bring the presence down, or try it the other way. You can access that really quickly. One thing that is a shame about this is that there's only the one foot switch on here. I feel like being able to kick in pre or post gain with an extra foot switch on here would be awesome if they do revise this pedal or make a version in the future with 2 or 3 foot switches. I reckon a lot of people get a lot of use out of that, because you could use this as your kind of core tone shaping tool into your amp, and then kick in either the kind of clean boost style thing or the extra gain stage style thing out of pre or post gain on there. I don't know, let me know, is that something people watching this video would be interested in with this pedal? I'm sure the builder would love the feedback. To finish up though, I've got my PRS SC245 in drop C. I'm using the purple Galaxy on the Astro now as a kind of more like, well, obviously Soldano's starting point on here, but I've purposefully dialed it in to have maybe more low end than I like. So pseudo recto 5150, modern high gain thing in drop C. Let's see how tight we can get this. I'm going to pull up stumps right there. If you would like to know more information about the amp driver, I have put links in the video description. If you'd like to support what I'm doing here on the channel, my Patreon, and the music that I make with my band Ragdoll is linked in the video description. Let me know your thoughts on this pedal in the comments section below. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, have a great day. Go and make some glorious guitar noises, and I'll see you next time.